Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Hybrid Unlimited. Today, I'm sitting down with Killian Hamilton and Jordan Shallow. This is a bit of a special episode because Jordan is leaving us to go to Dubai. He's moving, quote unquote. As he says, you'll see what he means by that when you listen to the episode. But he won't be back at all for at least the first 6 months. So this is a bit of a send-off, a hybrid unlimited send-off for him. We get into a whole bunch of different things, business-related stuff. Jordan has some cool things coming up with Prescript that you guys are going to want to hear about. Killian is spearheading a really cool new venture called, was it Prescript Collective?
Yep.
Prescript Collective. We talk about how my Instagram got hacked. That was a painful experience. Do whatever you can to not let that happen. Everybody turn on your two-factor authentication now if it's not on already. I learned that the hard way. As always, don't forget to screenshot this episode while you're listening. Tag me, tag Steffi, tag our guests, Killian and Jordan as well. We'll link their handles in the show notes. And you'll automatically be entered into a draw to potentially win some hybrid legacy gear. I think that is it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Hybrid Unlimited.
It's weird for me to sit here and have you do this.
What?
Coming into his house?
Yeah, this is the second one.
Telling him what's
or
wild?
Third one. Third one.
Here's the third one.
To be fair,
It's
like,
basically my
you know how
studio
much
now.
I've actually been inside his physical house?
I was just
So
gonna
it's like, this is
I'm glad
another-
you finished with, you know how long I've been inside his physical house.
Yeah.
Well, not my virtual house in the metaverse.
Well, not your Toronto house.
Yeah, true.
The Toronto crib.
We'll get you in there before you go.
Dude, you know how I am with these places. I'm just not going to leave. I know it's going to be nice. I'm just going
So
to...
this one only has a couch. If you're fine with that, I'm fine with you.
I'm fine with that.
Staying there.
You know, especially if
No
the
extra
burrito
room.
torpedo's there. Come on.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
She's been so nice to have.
Yeah. She's good for the soul, man.
She's been adjusting to the snow nicely as well.
She's been helping me with the adjust. Watching her run around the snow, I was like, man, I should probably get my ass outside. Like, if the old Miami, like if the Cuban Lynx is just hitting hot laps, is like, get your ass outside, man. You're born
Dude,
here.
yeah, when the fat Frenchie gets fit,
Yeah.
that's when you know you got to step.
And
your
comes
game
to
up, too.
Toronto to get fit. I literally used to go to
She's
Miami
shredded.
because I'm like, oh, man, I'm getting a little. I gotta go to fat camp.
Get some of that.
Yeah, I gotta go to like back wherever like Steph will call me fat every day. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll walk to the gym.
Just shame you into
Yeah.
health.
Dude, shame is such a powerful tool.
That's the greatest tool.
It really is. Yeah, did you see that my Instagram got hacked, by the way?
Oh,
Oh,
I was
watched
on
it.
it, man.
The amount of like my phone was just going off the hook. I just started answering like this. I know I got hacked.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, just letting you know.
Yeah,
But-
hey kid, people looking out for you. Again, like if I lost that Q&A, I then have to go ahead pretending like I know anything about business without just repeating shit I read off of you. It's like, oh, this is I need this back for me.
It was so stressful. It's just like,
It sounded like you went right to source though. Like you got like an inside guy.
yeah. Well, luckily I had a bunch of people with large followings post about what happened, like in their stories. So a few of them had, like actually Geo from
Barbell
Barbell Brigade had a link directly with somebody who worked in that like department at Meta, and then also another friend of mine, her boyfriend, like fairly new boyfriend, worked at Meta as well. So I actually both of
Amazing.
them submitted the same like request, and I literally I was all stressed out, but I went to bed. I woke up in the morning and they're like, check the inbox on the new email that you made. You should have a link to be able to get back into your account, and got back in.
amazing.
Clutch performance, man.
Dude, this guy was horrible. And what I think happened was, well, I don't know how he actually got in. I got hacked literally by the same person who hacked my friend who lives in my building here in Toronto.
Crazy.
And he was actually asking me for something that was sort of seemed relevant to what the conversation I was having in the direct message with him. So I thought he was just bouncing back and forth, but I copied this link that he sent because I thought it looked kind of odd, and I pasted it in iMessage and to him, and then he went in a group chat and was like, I just got kicked out of my Instagram account. Like I think it just got hacked, and I was like, oh man, that sucks, whatever. Next thing I know, I'm locked out also. So anyways, yeah, went out to everybody. But I think what ended up happening was that person who hacked the account and then sold it to somebody else because the next day when I got my account back, I was getting these notifications like device trying to sign in and trying to log in. And
say where?
The first 3 were the original guy was from Nigeria.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Probably
like
Prince.
African country. And so I saw that the day before. This day, 3 in a row trying from New York, then 6-minute pause, attempt from Nigeria. So I think what happened was, the person who bought the account was like, hey, I paid you for this account, and now I just got locked out of it. And he was like, oh, shit, I'm going to try to get back in. I was like, I guess I can't. But the mistake I made, anyone listening, please, for the love of God, turn on 2-factor authentication. So I did that, and now how I knew is I was getting the notifications on Instagram, and the code kept getting sent to my phone. So I was like,
there's a special place in hell for a piece of shit that does that.
dude, I was ready to go Liam Neeson on this guy.
Dude,
just full taken.
Just rocks up in Nairobi or whatever the fuck.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's because people don't understand what it takes to grow a following like that. Honestly, like an organic following to that scale is like, that's years of daily just crediting the account, and to see that disappear, especially as like if your business has you know, a tie to it, or it's how you're accessible to the community in which you operate in. That's like, I would rather you just take my hand.
Yeah, I had 2 thoughts. The first thought was obviously panic, like this has negative business implications. The second, like one that I had for a split second, was this might be an excuse for me to never have to participate in this again. And then the business just runs on the business account, you know, pull a full Jordan Moffat,
smoke bomb it into the skateboarding world until you fucking break your ankle again.
But then I was like, no, I don't think that will work. So I went back to being panicked.
Yeah, I'm glad you made the right choice.
Rarely
is making the right choice, but I think in this case it was the right choice. You followed through,
dude. I got lucky. And everyone was asking me after the fact, they're like, how did you get your account back? And I was like, well, like they literally told me I'm not supposed to do this. Technically, it's like an abuse of our power, because what they're doing is they're taking, imagine how many people's account get hacked, lost, or whatever, right? The ticket line of the request to get those back must be hundreds of thousands of people.
Right. Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're taking you from the back of that line and making you the first guy. So it's like, they're really obviously not supposed to do that.
But also, I mean, my thing with that is you are a dedicated user to the platform, right?
Sure.
To ascend in an organic fashion to that following is someone who's invested a lot into the app. So I think it kind of makes sense. And Instagram doesn't have a rewards program. It's not like you get a Bitcoin if you reach a certain number of followers. But I feel like it's the least, I don't want to say the least they could do, but I feel like it's more justifiable seeing the investment of time you've made into retaining members on their app. People will go on the app to see things most of the time. Like, we're on a weird part. Like, I always think of fitness Instagram like an expo, and we're behind the booth, right? And the rest of fitness is on the other side of the booth, just checking shit out. Right. So it's a different type of interaction. Like, it's a different type of dedication to the platform. And without the booth and the people behind it, there's more people in the expo on the other side of the booth than on our side. So it's like this one person is going to have, no pun intended, a meta impact on potential retention in our app. So like, they kind of owe you one.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. It's nice that they do that. And that was actually the first question, because Gio was sending me the screenshots of their conversation with her contact. And the first thing was like, well, if he's like a creator, like a content creator, then I can get it done like pretty easily. Okay. So I guess they do appreciate that. But the thing is, you can't find them. Like, you can't independently find them. That I was spending that entire night looking through the Instagram, like what to do if your account gets hacked. And first thing's like, call this number. I call this number. This number is no longer in service.
That's hilarious.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hang up. Next thing goes, okay, you emailed this email. I email the email, bounces back. This is not a like valid email, whatever. So I'm like, oh, they just don't want you to contact them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and honestly, I get it. Like, I'm sure the amount of tickets they're like customer service tickets they're dealing with is out of control. But like, to be an organization of that size and have no one to talk to, is pretty wild. Unless you like know a guy who knows a guy, it's like the mob.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah,
they do control a lot of shit.
They do. They sort of are like they're the meta
Yeah,
mob.
the meta mob.
Yeah, except I don't see Zuck as like a really good crime boss. If Zuck
Or he's
was
the best one.
Or yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I was watching like,
He's like Lex Luthor.
Goodfellas and it was like Zuck in the backyard and only talks to one guy at a time. It's like, this is lame.
What's that movie where the guy pretends to be like mentally handicapped the entire time? Whatever.
The Score?
No.
Oh, Ed Norton, that's a good one. Robert De Niro, I saw that.
Oh, Usual Suspects. Kaiser Sose.
Yeah. Maybe
And
he's
he
like
just
one of
reads
those.
everything in the closet.
Yeah, he's just pretending to be autistic, but really he's.
But he's really a lizard person, a subterranean lizard person, an off-world vampire.
exactly.
Not surprised that you knew that.
Yeah. So honestly, actually, the main point of this episode, I think, was kind of to give Jordan a send off.
Yeah.
We went on a bit of a tangent there, but tell the people what's happening. Big life things.
Whatever. Man. And the thing is, I travel so much now, and I've gotten so used to it that I'm going to be just sending I'm remiss to say I'm moving to Dubai, because that would claim ownership over where I live now, which is like I've spent less time. I've done the math. I've spent more time in your house in Miami in the last year than I've spent in the condo here.
Are you keeping the condo here, by the way?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's all getting folded up. So I'm I'll be moving to Dubai January 23rd, moving to Dubai, relocating the place I send my bills to the Middle East.
Wow. Are there any negative or positive business implications to that?
It's all perspective, man. It's what you make it. Like, Dubai is an emerging, fitness market. And I think that part of the world, in the subset or subdomain of the fitness industry that we work in the education space, is probably further behind than others. Like, when it comes to education, always seems to be the lagging end of most industries as they emerge into new markets. Right. So I'm looking at it as a huge positive. I mean, lucky to have pretty solid, like, our whole team is around the world, right? So Killian being here, Jay being in California, Bagheera being in Winnipeg, Mac being in Queensland, Australia, Baxter being in the UK, like, we're all, Stu being in Ottawa, we all have, like, it's always been remote. And I think to a certain degree it's kind of been beneficial over time to be able to recognize very subtle shifts. Like, we can be very sensitive, and like, not like we sit around and watch fucking Bridget Jones's Diary, that kind of sensitive, but because the ship can move relatively slow, it's like we can actually be really sensitive to minor shifts in direction and be able to either go with that and double down, or be able to change the course or get back on track. So, like, I think it's bless you, fuck off. I think it's been like working remotely up till now has forced us to like have some better systems than if we were always just over each other's shoulder and we'd be like that.
It takes special types of people to operate that way, though. Mm-hmm. Like, there's only certain, like, a lot of our team is remote also, and you either get the people who completely screw off and don't meet deadlines and are bad at that, or you have the people who are really good at being kind of self-guided.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've got a good team for that.
Yeah, and we were able to just acquire over time, right? Like, we're just able to resonate with people and spend time with people, and that's the only way we could communicate with a lot of people over time, was because we were never in the same room. So we were able to build like meaningful relationships remotely. So it makes it that much better when we're in person, and also it stops us from like wasting time in person too. Like, we're very efficient when we're here, because we know, like, we talk all the time, and it's like, we can hang out and talk about bullshit when we're not doing work, but when we're here, it's definitely like work. Like, it's not like, we enjoy what we do and all that. But to your original question, it's only positive if you make it positive. So I'm stoked, just like, being close to India is a big emerging market in fitness, that in education, I think is, in maybe more need, with obviously a huge population. Countries in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, is an emerging market for us. Pakistan's an emerging market for us, and they're all within 3-4 hour flight away. So I think it's all up.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if this is true of Dubai or not, but my experience with countries outside of the U.S. is that they're generally huge consumers of U.S. fitness content in general. Like, that's where people are getting their information from. Like, I get, obviously from experience with Australia,
crazy.
It's like, it doesn't really even matter who you are, or how accomplished you are. If you're a guy from America, doing a seminar, you can pack the house there.
Yeah. I found it to be very similar, and even I've heard from other like sub disciplines of fitness, like supplementation or gym equipment and things like that, that the Indian market is ultra receptive to the North American fitness influence. So we're hoping that that'll be the same case in the education space. And it's just really, it's a numbers game, right? There's 1.3 billion. We could find a few people that want to learn about whatever exercise stuff we talk about. So I'm stoked, man. Like, I enjoy the time that we were there. I really just, it's such a weird postmodern utopia. That
really
there's so much crazy shit. So
it feels like the place you see in the movies after like robots take over, and then humanity is ruined, and then like we rebuild, but we do it better. It's like that's
but that's almost like their agenda, it seems. It's like, look, this shouldn't be, it's the middle of a desert. Like they literally make it rain. They put rain in the water in the air to make clouds and then flood their own city
by accident.
But like they know what's going to happen, right? Like they built, the same government that did that built all the buildings was like, there's no plumbing in the mall, is there? Like, there's no drainage. Like, nah. Like, all right.
Guess everything.
Yeah, like, there goes the Patek Philippe store. It's like they know what they're doing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. But I love to travel, so that for me is like, that comes first. Like fitness and work just really feeds a traveling addiction at this point.
Yeah, I think it's good too. I think it keeps you, like we were talking about on your podcast, the storytelling side of things. It keeps you interesting, and like, as weird as it sounds, I think that's important as a person who, like, your personality also sells the products and services that you put out there. You being the face of the business, so you being the mysterious traveling fitness
shake
vagabond.
I'm going to be a fitness shake. Fitness shake of Dubai.
Oh, I hope you get all the outfits.
Oh, 100%. I got to blend in with my boys. I'm just going to get a knockoff Richard Mill and just sit around with like the bed sheets on in the Dubai Mall, just stay like this all the time.
Richard Mill.
Yeah. I because like kind of like what we talked about, it's the story. Like, I love a good story. Like, some of my favorite people growing up, like, I have uncles that you sit there and they can tell you about the story about like when they just went to the grocery store, and you're just like, oh my God. So it's like, I'm not a great storyteller, but it's like, well, fuck, if I can have cool stories, at least that's part of the battle. So yeah, I like living out cool stories because it's interesting to me. So undoubtedly that will be probably my most interesting one yet.
Speaking of sitting around in the traditional garb, we really all got a kick out of that photo of you and Tess in the mall. In the thing, with the headdress and all that.
That was hilarious.
We were like, this is how you know that this man's in love. Because never in a million years did I think you'd do any of that like coupley weird like girly shit. Like, oh, let's sit in the little booth thing with the hat and the whole thing.
The Falcon.
Please, anyone listening, go to
Lundy put it in.
The Muscle Talks on Muscle Talk on Instagram, and please check out that photo. It is.
I thought it was convincing.
Amazing.
I thought it was good. I thought I owned it. I thought I was
I
like
thought you
a
looked
method
good.
actor. You know what? While I was wearing that, I thought I was the Prince of Dubai.
Well,
I was. Everyone's like, "Oh, Your Highness, hello, sir."
Well, you had to test it out, so now you know you can go back.
Yeah, I know,
and
it's a
rock
good
it.
fit. It's a good fit.
That's good.
I wouldn't go with the whole wearing a duvet thing in the middle of the desert. Is something I don't understand. It's like,
No, I think it keeps them cooler. That's the point.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know,
because it doesn't fit
It doesn't
to your.
trap
It doesn't
the skin.
Yeah, it doesn't like. It's all flowy.
Look, unless I go over there and I'm all of a sudden cold-blooded, like, I don't think that theory holds weight, dude. It's middle of winter right now, and it's 90 degrees.
I know. It was terrible.
And it's
when we were
also
there.
a desert that has humidity, which is like, how the fuck did you pull that off? Where did we find this place on the map where that's a coexisting thing? It doesn't rain unless they make it, but there's enough humidity in the air, but it just goes somewhere else to fall.
That when
Brutal.
I thought Miami in the summer was the most inhabitable place like on the planet. Went to Dubai, I was like, oh my God, it's 20 degrees hotter and it's more humid.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but it should be interesting. It's so unlike any other place I've been, like, or at least lived, that, yeah, I'm looking forward to the change.
Yeah, and it's also like Canada in the winter, right? It's like you spend as little time outside and you do the indoor activities. It's like at least the indoor activities in Dubai are
Sick.
grandiose and fun.
Yeah, skiing in a mall or some bullshit like
Yeah,
that.
going
Yeah.
like that crazy million, like.
Do you
deep-
ski?
Fuck yeah, I ski. Ski
Yeah, oh
circle
yeah,
now.
this guy
I feel like
skis.
if you go down on a pair of skis,
I'm going down, dog.
that's you be careful.
No,
big guy.
No, you be careful. Because this comes down to like, I think we cut it on the slopes and then we take it for like a shootout.
Okay.
Because this has always been like, this is like a tiff that people start in our Q&As. Like, all right,
Yeah.
who wins in a
Who's the-
shootout?
it's basically who's the most Canadian is what they're
Yeah.
getting at.
Yeah,
That's
I
Who
think-
wins in
wanna know.
hockey? Who,
I think you get stonewalled. And then I fucking take you on the double black and I
We'll
eat your
see.
lunch.
But you know what? The thing that is the worst on me, like I can go back on the ice and skate as if I didn't miss a beat. My hands, like stick handling,
Yeah.
horrendous.
Really?
What is the
Yeah.
weight gain between when you last played well and what you are now?
Yeah.
40 pounds.
Yeah, see,
40
I was
pounds.
born in
Whoa.
the, I was
Yeah.
born in the thickness. You only
Yeah.
adopted it. Like I was playing junior C hockey at like 250.
Yeah, I was like 180.
Yeah, no, I was because I was a goalie and I was
Yeah.
really just there to fight people. So like when I lace up the skates now, I'm like, oh yeah, this old hat already got a low back pump. Let's go, let's go.
Low back.
Low back bump.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That'd kill me now.
Yeah, dude, it's the ankles that get me.
Really?
It's just like controlling your foot on the edges. Like how often are you doing this with your foot
Yeah,
every day,
once you get
right?
out of-
You know what that gets? I snowboard. I don't ski, and the chair lifts now. Like I can't. You know how you usually hang it with one foot.
Yeah.
That cranking on like my knee and my ankle. By the end of the day, I literally just feel like my ankle and leg are like a sock with pool balls in it. Like they just separate so easy. I'm like, this is the loosest joint that's ever existed.
I'm sure because your amateur skateboarding career probably hasn't done you
Yeah,
any
really.
favors.
Yeah.
Pop
Yeah.
shove it every 6 months and like the groundhog. You're like, well, Hayden's not going to see loading that ankle for another 6 weeks.
I mean, I still got a few good breaks left in it, I think. But you know what? Actually, the broken foot, I don't know if people know, but I broke my foot skateboarding as an adult. Don't recommend it. That was the first injury I've ever had that got to a point like where it still bothers me to this day when I wake up in the morning and stuff. And I was like,
Fucking
and I was
genius.
like, this might be the first like actual legacy injury that just bothers me forever.
It's like that Louis C.K. joke. It's like you just have shitty ankles now.
Yeah.
It's like you just do these exercises forever and it
Yeah,
never gets
just-
better.
Yeah, you have to do these stretches. You're like, for how long?
You
Forever.
just
Forever.
do them now.
Yeah, you just do
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, that's it. Shitty ankle syndrome. I think that's just age.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm
Nah,
gonna try to
well,
get hurt less.
welcome.
Yeah,
Stay off the fucking skateboard, man.
it's in my blood.
You really went 0 to 100, you know?
I know, I did. But I wish I'd heard it doing something cooler. Like when I broke it as a kid, I was kick flipping a 9 set. When I broke it here, I was trying to just grind a small rail
Bart-
on the street.
Bart Simpson, I don't know what that first thing you said was. Kick flipping a 9 set?
Yeah, you know, 9 stairs.
Yeah, that's when the skateboard does this.
I know what a kick flip, but okay.
And then
A
down
9 set, there's 9 sets of stairs.
oh.
Yeah.
9 stairs or 9 sets?
No,
of
9
stairs?
stairs.
A
Okay,
set,
9
a set
sets
of 9 stairs.
Okay.
Set of 9 stairs.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're
You know
coming
it. It was
in.
at Iceland.
Oh.
Of course it was. It's the
yeah.
Toronto story. It's the story
Yeah.
as old as time.
Yeah.
Well, good.
old
I'm,
Iceland.
I'm glad you have a constant reminder of the poor decision. The one poor decision you've made.
That's
Other than
not
that, you've
nice.
made some pretty good. You got a streak of like pretty good decisions, and I'm glad you just have like a reminder of like, oh, this is what
Yeah, I
other
had to
people do.
get the one out of my system. Now I can go back to good decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I guess it's like it's acceptable amount of collateral.
Yeah, there you go. I'll survive.
You got 2 ankles.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll just start skating the other way. Bust that one a couple times.
There you
The
go.
old
Even
goofy
out.
stance.
Yeah. I know I can survive 3, so this one's pretty fresh.
I love the science you've applied to this.
Yeah, I don't know if Steph would agree from a PT perspective.
Yeah, no.
So you have any new business stuff coming up?
So platform is going to be the big one. So Prescript has been, a continuing education company in the fitness space for. We kind of diverted towards education in 2017, 2018. So we've looked to build a platform for our coaches to host their client coaching interactions on. So platform, depending on when this podcast come out, will be out within the next couple of months. So like first quarter next year, that'll be ready to go. So, it's similar in kind, although we've drastically altered like the user experience from kind of your conventional, I don't want to name the other products, but like, fuck it, Trainerize, Train Heroic, things like that. So we're going to have something that we think based off of how we teach fitness education and training principles, that'll just make that process of client check-in, client interaction much more intuitive and much more expedient for our coaches.
Like a two-way portal.
Yeah, exactly. So clients will be able to utilize this with their coach to be able to send check-in videos, to be able to relay sentiments, whether positive or negative, voice notes, text notes, and it's built through the eyes of a coach, so that coaches that have an expanding digital business will be able to have a much more expedient check-in process. Most coaches get bottlenecked and they move to like doing challenges or having different features or ways of distributing their programming, which is great, and we'll have all those features as well. But the real cornerstone of that business is for people who love the one-on-one interaction to be able to give them more of that, right? So not be bottlenecked by time with a laborious, clunky check-in process. Like I know a lot of people that enter into this type of software as a service and use it as a coach that ultimately default back to Google Sheets, which is, it's one thing to look at Google Sheets and kind of laugh, but really Excel is a fairly robust software that's been around for longer than digital fitness has. So platform is going to be one of the big things that I'm spending a majority of my time on into next year. Prescript is continuing to develop and release some courses, so some cool ones coming out. Just writing like supportive course material for that. So I have another manual I need to write next year. That'll be the level 2. So that'll be a big chunk of time dedicated towards that. So those are going to be the big projects are going to be platform, or the software, and staying on top of that, and then just writing.
Nice. And so is your team going to still be working here while you're gone?
Yeah. So I mean, Killian runs shit here, so he's gonna continue on with actually. I totally forgot about that. We got a lot of stuff in the pipe. So we have a new product coming to market that Killian is spearheaded. So yeah, to answer your question, it's going to be the studio in Burlington will remain. I'll be back and forth starting in June, like one week a month. I'll do a week in Toronto, 3 weeks in Dubai. But yeah, Killian will still be here.
What's the thing that you're spearheading?
So we're spearheading basically a community-based product called Prescript Collective, where we're taking now this wealth of coaches and eyes on what we do in continuing education and finding a place where we can create some cohesion. Like we talk all about people seeing each other as competition, and I think with Prescript Collective, we're going to offer a space where people can utilize their voice and open dialogues to ideas they may have that they may feel are not free to disperse yet to the public. They can have them with like-minded coaches, as well as a component of this is Prescript Emerging Ideas, which is going to be an internal and external lecture series. We could reference like a TED Talk as a good example to kind of contextualize this, in which we're able to give a lot of voices to people in S&C, people in bodybuilding, powerlifting, weightlifting, even nutritional science, for them to be able to have a place where they can talk about these emerging and possibly, like more cutting edge or like tomorrow-like ideas that are breaking away from some of the conventions that we know to be true or untrue in fitness now. So just giving some people a platform and a voice and an audience to speak about some interesting ideas.
That's cool. We were just talking about that on the last podcast. It's sort of like the sharpening of the sword.
Yeah.
After you've thrown it in the fire.
Yeah, I think, and that one, I'm excited for that because our courses, we set up, there's a barrier of entry just given the nature of the product, right? Like, and I don't think learning has to be behind a crazy expensive paywall, which is like, I'm hoping that with our networks, and I think that's the unique thing about it is like, we draw in from so many different worlds. Like, we have a very bodybuilding centric world here, obviously in pure muscle and fitness, but Killian and I, with our experience in strength and conditioning, we see a lot of that. Now those are two worlds that don't usually meet, right? So, to give some exposure to a bodybuilding coach about principles of periodization specific, like we had Taylor Thiessen on, which was Killian's like first module that's going to go up, or one of the first modules. Taylor Thiessen's the strength coach at Brock University, And, you know, he talked about principles of game day minus, which is like a strength and conditioning periodization principle. And, you know, I think there's a lot of lateral thinking that can occur between a bodybuilder or someone who came through Prescript's applied biomechanics courses or skill acquisition courses to get some exposure to that and really like have this emerging idea, right? And that's really what the product is all about. So it's just, you know, it's a monthly product that's based around education where you have access to these very topical lectures by our keynote speakers every month that range from strength and conditioning coach of Brock to the strength and conditioning coach of the Phoenix Suns to the strength and conditioning coach of the
Ajax football club.
Right. So. And then the Pelicans to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but also like, hey, contest prep coaches for the guy who won Mr. Olympia, to, hey, this guy is a 10-year professor at the University of Western Ontario and PhD in medical sciences from Yale University. So like, a diversity in thought that it's kind of been a defining characteristic of like the tighter knit community that already exists, and giving that community a space to start to reach into more people. And the one thing we just don't, it's so weird that you have to say it, but the one thing that we don't put up with is like any infighting.
Yeah,
like we
100%.
almost, and we haven't ever had to enforce it.
No.
So it's kind of been nice, just I think in the way that we kind of conduct ourselves online is we just don't play in the mud. And a lot of the times when you're trying to play smart on the internet, it's about proving the other guy wrong. And hopefully this will continue sort of the trend of us just creating actually a strong man out of other arguments and other sides rather than a straw man, because we're going to bring some heavy fucking hitters that are fairly irrefutable from their stances and make people pretty uncomfortable and challenging their biases and beliefs. So that product I'm really excited about, because it's going to allow us to scale from a price point perspective, and I think the value that it's going to bring is going to be crazy, because I don't think people are putting a lot of these worlds together. It's either very nutrition based or it's very very powerlifting based or very strength coach based, where it's like, you know, we don't discriminate when it comes to stuff like that. We're interested in fairly broad ranging topics in fitness and performance. So that's going to be a big one. So Killian will man that here.
And that will run indefinitely.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that, because I think that where some people get lost in the current sort of like education lecture online space is like there's always these events, and it's like, well, there's 20 people speaking today, and you have to sit through all of them. You know, whereas here it's like it's a little bit more digestible. If you're like interested in 10 people, you can sit down 10 different times and have access to it. So I think that's really cool.
And I think with like already with the audience that we have and the amazing coaches that have, given us their time previously, to be able to have a product that is a little bit more condensed or delivered episodically is important, because like Shallow teaches 12, 16-week courses that are an hour lecture at a time. I teach a 8-week to, infinity length course, depending on when I finish it. That's an hour length at a time. But we have these coaches that have amazing client rosters, and like if you're already doing 12 hours a day of work, I think there's a great benefit to be able to listen to or have these small digestible conversations that might be 25, 35, 45 minutes in length, in which you're not invested in that 60 minutes and possibly rewatching it 2 or 3 times. You can sit down, you can acquire a new lens of looking at things and be able to bring that out onto the floor to the next client that you have.
That's nice. I like that. You're onto something.
Yeah, and the nice part is we have that, like the Emerging Ideas series is kind of like the cornerstone of it. And then we have like a literature review component as well. That's actually going to be like a guided literature review. So every month we're going to dissect a topic that's usually on trend with whatever the keynotes are speaking about. So,
cool.
we have Penn State University rugby coach going to talk about isometrics, which is like has a lot to do with like rugby and like the scrum and how to push against an immovable object. And then our literature review that month will be studying isometrics a little bit deeper and going into a deeper dive into the research, because we basically just looked at like, what do we think we can do better, right? And where is the current state of the industry at when it comes to like quote unquote like evidence-based learning. And I think this product is to cover that. And so we have the literature review, we have the Emerging Ideas series, we also have a technique lab. So people submit their videos through our community to begin to not even just dissect lifts, but actually go through the process of dissecting assessments for exercises. Like, where do you start to assess a hang clean or a snatch or how do we assess ground contact time, or how do you assess box jump mechanics? So just an entire like range of, not so much like I'm going to go and get my squat ripped apart, but I'm going to see how it is that professionals in the space actually assess a range of normal for exercise. So it's going to be like a kind of a 4-pronged product that's going to be emerging ideas here, is literature review, technique labs, as well as this sort of the community aspect forum to it as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a monster.
Is that a software you're building?
We're part of it we've had to write internally. Other part of it we can host through our current web hosting service. So there has been a bit of like fine tuning on like the actual CS side of things, which is, we talked about earlier. It's, the computer science technology stuff. It's like you can't not be like a fitness tech company now.
Right.
It's just, you can't get away from it. We can't do this on the back of a napkin.
Yeah, no. Yeah, more and more. If you're a fitness company, or if you're an anything company, you have to be a tech company at this point. If you're going to run your own thing, or you at least have to have a third-party service that you can put it through, but if you have the option.
Yeah, so lucky enough with Platform to have like a really keen eye on the coding side. He's been able to, the guy's been doing the stuff, enterprise softwaring for 15 years, so he's done a great job to retrofit everything. And he's actually was a Prescript coach, believe it or not.
No way.
So yeah,
isn't that the best way? It's the best way to find people, because they're already bought in.
Yeah,
they already like what you're selling. That's like all of our group moderators for the Discord.
Yeah.
They were all people that had been.
Well, the Kaplan story is my favorite.
Actually, yeah, he was the only one really that's been around for a long time that got to such a high level in the business.
Did you hear this? How Kaplan
story.
got his job? So funny.
Arguing with Steffi online.
I love that.
But like respectfully.
Yeah, of course.
He wasn't being an asshole
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, he would she just started noticing that he was frequently like popping up on posts, and he'd either agree and be like, hey, this is a good point, whatever, or he'd then he'd message her, like direct message her, so he wasn't like when he thought she was wrong, he wasn't like idiot publicly. He was like, hey, I saw that you made a post about this, but here's a different perspective on it. Here's a couple research papers, you might be interested. And she just found herself being more and more interested in what he had to say, and was agreeing with all of the things he was saying. So we initially hired him as a writer.
Amazing.
So he was writing content for, at the time we were doing a blog actively, and also writing content for Steffi's like IGTV and YouTube.
Right.
And, like we said, he's just a brain with arms and legs. So his role just kept evolving, and now he's our CTO.
Right.
So,
Classic.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, dude, I love that, because it's, people will want to work at a place like that, and they'll think, submitting a resume and doing an intern, which can be great, but it's like, where do you provide value, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what problems do you solve for this business? And I think that's such like a key takeaway, is most people, when they get into, or they're trying to get into some sort of a level of exposure, it's like, I'll get people ask me like, hey, can I come shadow you? What good does that do me for you to be fucking 3 feet behind me? It's like, are you going to take a bullet if someone shoots me? Are you going to pull some bodyguard shit? Can you come with a briefcase that's handcuffed to your wrist so at least I look cool? No? Then what are you doing here? Why? Leave me the fuck alone, man. Like, sure. And I understand it to a certain degree, but like that story of Cap just like providing value, it's like that is, if you want to get in somewhere, provide. This guy basically, he showed up to one of the seminars and then he taught the next one. And I was like, this is fucking brilliant. This is the only person who's made my life easier in the last decade. And I was just like, yeah, cool. Like, do you want to come over for steak and a job? Like, and just never leave? And that was fucking 2-3 years ago now. Yeah. And it's just like providing value. Like, it's even this emerging ideas thing. He's like, hey, this great idea. I was like, holy shit. It's like, all right, I'm going to fuck off to Dubai. That sounds great. Go ahead. Thanks, man.
No, it's great. I mean, it's so rare in this day and age to have that within your business. It's mostly people saying, luckily not with us anymore, but in most businesses, it's mostly people saying, hey, I did my job. Yeah. Can I get a raise? It's like, no, you get paid for doing your job. Yeah. But Simon is another one, Simon Chang, that started working for us as a nutrition coach. And then like slowly over time, he was just noticing things that needed to be done. And he's like, well, no one's going to do this, so I'll do it. And then eventually he came to me. He's like, hey, this is my job now. Like, this is totally different than what I used to do. Like, what's that worth? And, you know, then we sat down and had a conversation, and it ended up with him transitioning entirely out of nutrition coaching. And now he's our director of training operations. So it's like, and he just invented that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was just a number of really important tasks that had to get done, and if they didn't get done, they were going to cause real problems. And you know, he had the ability to see them and then also execute on them. You know, and we've got a lot of people actually in the business now that have done that. We've just been, you go through a bunch of people until you find really good ones, but you know, we're lucky that like our team now is a lot of those types of people.
Yeah, the initiative part is huge.
Yeah, it's tough. And also awesome when you find them. But yeah, like I was saying, our group moderators, that's how we find all of them. They're just like, they're basically people who are doing the job already. And we're like, well, we'll pay you to just keep doing this, but like make sure you do it all the time.
Yeah, we had that with our technique lab. So
Yeah.
one of the products that we're spinning into the Prescript Collective is this technique lab. And we had 2 coaches that just, they loved the community aspect of it so much, started hosting these lab portions where they would just go over lifts on the weekends, like early mornings. And one of them came to us and was like, hey, we've been doing this. And we've been kind of calling it like, because they all met through Prescript. So they've been calling it like the Prescript Technique Lab. I'm like, that's really cool. What's your bank information? And I'll send you a contract and an NDA. And now it's existed. I've never been to one. I'm pretty sure they're Saturday and Sunday morning.
I guess so.
Yeah, and then it just gets done. And there's a contract that says, and it was going to get done regardless. And just the initiative of like, all right, we're going to do this now.
I wonder if they've adopted your approach of just like wielding weapons and yelling into the camera.
Well, I don't think they have the ARs.
Yeah, I don't think they have any weapons.
Yeah.
I loved all the screenshots of you with the big knife.
Yeah.
He's just
It helps,
flipping-
man.
Yeah, it's like a fidget spinner.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fidget spinner with consequences. That's what it is.
Man. So yeah, you take off, and you were saying because you have a resident visa in Dubai that
Yep.
you can't come back for 6 months.
Won't be able to come back to Canada for 6 months, but with the way my travel was already shaping up for 2022, at least the first half, it's not going to be that big of an impedance. So I'll be in the UK, Serbia. So I'll basically be 8 weeks in Dubai, 6 weeks in Europe, 12 weeks in Dubai, and then I'm going to start coming back on a regular basis. So
Right.
there is the off chance I can still go to the States. I can basically go to any country that's not Canada, which I haven't
funny.
quite figured that out. Right? I don't know. I got to talk to Kathy. I got to talk to our girl,
Yeah.
and make sure that like that is the case. I guess it kind of makes sense in a weird way, but I've never heard of someone not being able to enter the country that they're from.
To me, it just sounds like they want you to prove that you're actually going to be a resident somewhere
Right.
else.
I guess
Yeah.
so. Maybe it's on Dubai's end and not Canada's end.
Will you have to pay taxes in Dubai?
Nope. So I'll
that's
save
nice.
you a spot. I'll start looking for condos for you. Make sure that you just
That's
fold up the
nice.
Toronto joint and just come hang
Oh,
come hang out in Dubai. But no taxes.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
man.
I mean, both businesses are incorporated in the States, so which is
Everything
great
goes through
because
there.
you don't have to. Well, the IRS is tricky. Let's just say that,
Yeah.
and they're listening.
They're not your friend.
No, they're not your
They're
friend
not.
because like the CRA is like,
Oh, for sure.
all right.
Yeah.
You can miss a few payments with the CRA, and they'll just be like, could you please make those?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Forgot.
no.
Yeah.
The IRS goes, you need to make those from prison. So you're going to jail now. So we do accept cigarettes as a form of currency. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little more heavy-handed. Damn. I don't know. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but I just wanted to give you from the hybrid audience, everybody who's listening to this, say farewell to Jordan for me because I'm gonna miss him.
This will be the longest.
So yeah, honestly, yeah, we were just saying that. Well, it was
Dude,
already
it was
the longest. I
3
think.
weeks, and I
Yeah.
haven't seen you. I was like, this feels weird.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, have a good time. Thanks for letting me make my second home here in the studio.
course.
Thanks for making my first home your actual house for so long over the years.
Anytime. And hey, when you're doing the whole Dubai thing, I will probably be ending up back in Miami. So when you need a place to stay, you know where to.
Likewise, we
Where
got an
to
old
reach us.
2-bedroom joint just for the friends to come visit.
Exactly.
Which Steph's not coming, but that's okay. We can have fun without her.
Yeah, I'll come for
All right,
sure.
I'll listen to this.
Yeah, I'll give me a robe too.
Make it happen. I'll get you a falcon.
Definitely.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.